Sorry guys, I don't have a good meme to start you off with. The meme is me, I guess. I am the meme. So, a film titled My Octopus Teacher was released onto Netflix in 2020. It's a documentary following the story of a filmmaker who gradually befriends a wild octopus that lives in a kelp forest, and about how his friendship causes a radical shift in perspective for him and his life. It's a cute movie. I definitely recommend it if you haven't seen it yet. So why the fuck am I talking about a Netflix documentary in a video like this? Well, because My Octopus Teacher could have just as easily been titled White Guy Discovers Animism. And while I don't think it was intentional, I think the movie captured the basic essence of animism, albeit from a very secular perspective. But before I go further, what exactly is animism? Sometimes it gets categorized as a religion, but that doesn't really fit. A religion can be animistic, but animism is not a religion in of itself. Generally speaking, it's a belief that all things, humans, animals, plants, etc., have an individual essence, energy, or spirit to them. Everything is alive, in some form or another.
Toys! The toys are alive!
Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that every animist thinks that things like rocks or your anime figurines have the same level or type of consciousness as a person, but we do believe they possess an individual essence or spirit. Even as someone who is an animist, this can be a bit difficult for me to explain in words. As an example, maybe as a kid you had a favorite stuffed animal, or a favorite blanket. Whenever you held it, it made you feel safe, protected, or happy. It wasn't conscious in the same sense that you and I are, but it still felt like those emotions were coming from the toy or blanket, like it was giving the essence of these things to you. In my personal practice, this is what I would call the spirit of your blanket or your toy. I would say it has a spirit of protection or happiness, and that you clearly had a good relationship with it. And that right there, is what I think is the real essence of animism: relationships. I personally like to define animism as the relationship of everything. And when I say everything, I mean everything.
What she taught me was to feel that you're part of this place, not a visitor. That's a huge difference.
Every animal, every plant, every stone, every grain of rice, every particle of light, even every word you speak, is alive in its own way, and has a relationship with everything else. And this is why I say My Octopus Teacher really captures the basic idea of animism. This one relationship this guy forms with an octopus opens him up to a relationship with the entire ecosystem of that kelp forest. Early anthropologists used to describe animistic beliefs as primitive, thinking that individual animists were unable to discern the difference between people and things. Which, to be fair, it's hard to tell the difference between colonizers and pieces of shit. Thankfully, that's mostly considered an archaic definition, as animism as a term has been reclaimed and updated to match our actual understanding. In Shinto, it's a common belief that all things are kami. Kami is often translated as God, but a better translation would be something that inspires awe. And yes, that could be what we would refer to as the gods, but it can also be a mountain, a waterfall, the ocean, a tree. All of these can inspire awe. The distinction between natural and supernatural isn't really a thing when we talk about animism. So, what happens when you believe everything has a spirit? For me at least, seeing things from the perspective of a relationship, like a friend or a relative, it causes you to be a lot more mindful of others, of your surroundings. How is your relationship with the animals? Is there love? Respect? Reciprocity? Or are they like toys or vending machines to you? What about with our food? our clothes, the land itself. Is this a healthy relationship we have with the spirit of these things? If you are gathering natural supplies for witchcraft or maybe a ritual, are you respecting the land you're pulling from? Do you leave litter or take more than you need? In our current society, approaching things with an animistic mindset can be difficult. It's harder to form relationships with things that are held hostage by arbitrary monetary value and removed by several layers of processing and commodification.
We live in a society!
As polytheists, we're used to talking about reciprocity and forming relationships with our gods, and I think this is beautiful and important. But even if you're not an animist, I think it's good to think about how we can have reciprocity with the everyday things and creatures around us as well. And maybe we can make the world just a little bit brighter in the process. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to like or even subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.